I'm just going to let this go.
Oliva in the house.
Drake, what?
What is up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Ash Chat podcast with the Alma de Hombre Society.
Yep.
Let's do it.
I am your host and your producer, Dave Brown. With me, I have Richie, Cappy, and a bunch of special guests here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's smoke and drink.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess I was picked today to select the cigar of choice and the bourbon that we're going to be tasting. I decided to go with one of my favorite dailies for about the last 15 years. It's the Oliva Serie V. And for our bourbon choice, we had a local barrel pick from Total Wine over here in Milford. So it's the first time we're going to be cracking open this Blantons.
Let's go.
So I'm pretty excited about.
Nice. And who the fuck are you?
I am Jay Valanga, otherwise known as Jay Brisket.
Holla back.
Awesome. And sitting to Jay's right, Timothy.
Sitting to Jay's left, actually, is Timothy.
You're right. I'm a little. Well, it's all right. Sitting to Jay's my right.
Tim Scott. Double deuce. Alma the Hombre. Glad to be a part of the experience here.
Awesome. Well, so Jay, you said you picked this cigar. Why don't you give us a little bit of background as to why?
Sure. Well, first of all, when it comes to cigars, I like to pick stuff that I smoke daily, like stuff that isn't hard to get or exclusive. And it's a pretty common cigar for the last 10 years or so. It turned out to be one of my favorite dailies because back in the day, the Ashton VSG used to be my daily stick. And when those prices started getting a little bit too silly, getting to $12, $13, $14 a stick, back when cigars were $8 a stick, the V was comparable or better in flavor and much cheaper in price. So it became, almost a daily cigar for me. And at the time, when the cigar first came out, it was a really exciting release from Oliva. And having some friends with the company, it's also fun to be loyal to those guys and smoking a lot of Oliva.
Nice. Very cool. So you say it's kind of one of your dailies. What draws you to it as a daily?
Well, I like full-bodied sticks, and it's a full-bodied stick. But while it's strong, it's smooth. It's not going to kill the palate. You're going to be able to smoke something else if you're that type of smoker. Good flavor, always burns well, balanced. If I had one wish about these sticks, they tend to come in larger ring gauges. This one here is a 5x54. I've teased some of those guys that I wish they would come out with a narrower gauge. They have a Maduro Toro that I think is a 50 or 52, but they still have yet. And I think it's probably a product of the blend that they do such large ring gauges.
So you would go with a 52 over the 54 on this?
I like traditional Vitolas. I like
Vitolas?
50 ring gauge on most of those sticks. I just think that it brings a little more of the wrapper in,
Right.
a little more flavor. But, again, I don't know what their intent was with the larger stick, probably to get a more full.
I get the flavor off of this immediately.
Yeah, but it also has a big full mouthfeel, too,
Right.
when you take that smoke in.
I tell you, I can't complain either. I'm used to smoking a 52 gauge. This is nice, smooth. One of the sticks that I ran across, I'm really new in the game of smoking sticks, and run across several others. This is a very nice smoke. Doesn't kill your wallet. Not bad at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you say you're pretty new to the cigar game, what is that to you?
Honestly, I've been smoking cigars more regularly in the last 4 years, but I really in narrowing in on things that I like more. Especially hanging out with these guys of late, coming to Mikey Blakes in Orange and hanging out with the guys. This has given me a different experience as opposed to just sitting there firing up a stick and saying, okay, that's all right. Smooth stick, I'm appreciating more, getting more of the palate, learning to enjoy it a little bit more.
4 years is not new. I mean, by now, you're kind of almost a vet.
Well, you know,
I would say so.
Still a lot of things to learn, though. There's so many. The thing is, there's so many sticks out there, and that's what I also love and enjoy about this whole deal. It's the fact that you run across a new stick here and there every day that you're surprised that you'd even like.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. 4 years, like Cappy said, is it's eons in the cigar because there's so many that come out, all the time. Like when I'm smoking this stick right here, I'm a big Liga 9 fan, right? And then we have Ricky Rodriguez, who's also Alma, who likes the T52. This reminds me a little bit of the T52 because it is full-bodied, but it is a nutty flavor to it, which I do like. And I agree, like, I can't even tell you years, probably, 15, maybe 17 years I've been in it, and I just enjoyed the regions more now. I used to just smoke cigars and say, oh, this is good, this is strong. I want the cigar that's going to pop my head off. But then I went to Nicaragua twice, like I said the last podcast, and the regions and the different places that the cigars are coming from. And when you can break down the cigar and say, okay, I like this because the wrapper is this, I'm getting this flavor, and the binder and the filler are this. It's a game changer. Thing. Once you start getting into that portion of it, and at 4 years on it, you can be there. But if you start to actually look at the cigar and say, why do I like smoking this? It's Jay's everyday cigar. I don't know if Jay knows the binder, the filler, the makeup of the cigar, but if you actually look at the makeup of the cigar, you're going to know on the new cigars that have come out, I'll probably like this, or I might not like it because it has something that I don't like in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But as you said, you've been to, I still have to, I'd love to go to Nicaragua. I'd love to go to other places and to go to a factory. I haven't been to a factory yet. I got to do all that kind of stuff.
We got to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something on my bucket list.
Yeah, me too. Missed a couple of opportunities.
Yeah.
Rumor has it there might be a trip next year.
All right. All right. Let's keep our ear to the ground on that one.
Absolutely.
So, Richie, you mentioned something that I'm seeing a bit of a pattern. You said you started looking for the cigar that was going to pop your head off. Last podcast we were talking about bourbons and whiskeys. You tend to go for the higher proof. You tend to have a very strong palate. That being said, are there something on the more mild to medium range that you gravitate toward, or are you strictly like full body?
No, I'm not strictly full body. I enjoy the full body. A lot of people can't do it because they get dizzy or they're like, oh man, this is way too strong. I don't have that problem with cigars because I just experimented in so many different like medium coffee cigars, like the Charter Oak Connecticut. That's a good. It's stronger than a regular light cigar, but it's a coffee cigar for me, so I'll do that. Every once in a while, the Tayback with a coffee. If we're going to an event early in the morning, maybe 7 o'clock, but I'm not going to smoke that in the middle of the day.
Right.
No.
So no, I don't shy away from anything that's light. If it's light and flavorful, I'm going to do it. But if it's light and airy, it's a cigar I'm going to stay away from because it's almost like smoking paper to me.
Yeah, got to have some body, some depth to it. I'm surprised you compared this to T52 because T52 is a head knocker.
Oh, that's what I said. The T52 is a head knocker.
Yeah,
I only described it to the T52 as far as that nutty flavor that you're getting.
Okay.
So you know how you get that? The T52 is super strong, but you get that nutty flavor on it. And that's what I'm getting off the V right now, which I like this cigar. And I actually like this Vitola. This Vitola, to me, is probably the smallest I like to go, unless I'm going to go to an Lancero. A lot of people don't like Lanceros, but I will do a Lancero because the flavor profile on it is insane.
Yeah.
Right. And we talk about bourbon all the time, where we take a, high-proof bourbon.
Yep.
And it doesn't bring the heat. This is one of those cigars where it brings a lot of that flavor, but you're not getting that head popping heat like you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to the Lancero, the thing is that a Lancero, I think, has almost a negative connotation because it's a smaller stick and dudes want to sit around and have something big in their hand, Right. But I mean, you do get great flavors off of some Lanceros, definitely.
Tim, do you want to expand on that? Dudes wanting to sit around with something big in their hands? Or?
Well, not really, unless I'm home alone and
Now, Tim,
I didn't know if there was another story.
He's got to put a glove on so it feels big.
What happened was
already. Yes, I hate these guys already.
So anyway, Jay, you mentioned bourbon and all that kind of stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're drinking here, which I haven't even had a chance to taste yet.
Sure. I mean, I'm not as fluent in the bourbon as Cappy and Rich might be, so I don't know much about the Blantons brand, although it tends to be a little maligned in our community. because of the higher price. And probably, I mean, in my experience, it tends to be a little lower on the depth of flavor.
Yeah.
But this particular bottle popped up, about 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Local shop that we all frequent had a store pick, and a bunch of us flocked to it. And I think because of the price and how rare it was, not too many people have brought their bottles in yet. So I figured this would be a fun bottle to open up here, as it's something none of us have experienced yet, right?
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And store picks tend to be a little better than the flagship bottles, because it's what those people wanted in a bourbon rather than what the distiller wanted for the crowd, So they
Right.
tend to be a little more exciting, a little more nuanced.
Very nice. I mean, I just had my first sip, and so far it's good. It doesn't have a lot of heat to it.
No.
What's the proof on this? I'm gonna guess around 100.
It's a
93.
93.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on the lighter side, especially for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, Blaze one, holla.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about it because we were smoking a fuller bodied cigar, and while I wasn't thinking in terms of a pairing, I was kind of curious as to what would happen. And I think it's
got
kind of
enough.
it's kind of got an
Yeah.
oily texture to it. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, and I think it balances out with that kind of, I don't want to say mild, but that sort of medium but heavy body that the V brings. It kind of
Yeah.
cuts through it. You're getting the sweet. The cigar's not overwhelming the bourbon.
They're kind of complementing each other a little
and
Yeah.
bit.
the bourbon's not
Hope so.
overwhelming
Yeah.
the cigar.
Yep.
They work well together.
Nice. Any other thoughts on it?
No, I mean, I've always liked Blantons. I mean, actually, I got Blantons for my birthday, probably my 43rd birthday, and it was like 40-something fucking dollars.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish. I'm 50. But I tell you, the guy got it for me, and I went out and I bought another bottle immediately. I was like, oh, this shit is good. And it was $49, or 40-something bucks. And I'm like, and now it's like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
If you look for
Yeah.
it, some guys are gouging you 100 and something bucks.
Which is
you know?
insane.
It's like,
Right.
come on.
That's what's going on with a lot of bourbon. Yeah.
And I think that happens more or less in the cigar industry as well, because if everybody gravitates to one cigar, this shop will have it for like 15 and the other shop has like 18. And it's like, it's really a $10 cigar, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Scarcity,
that's
quantity.
it. Yeah,
Right.
You're absolutely correct.
I mean, with regular Blantons, if that's regular Blantons 4 years ago, and I mean, most bourbon 4 years ago, whole different price range. Now it's
Oh,
blown
yeah, it's
out of
insane.
the roof. It really has.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once upon a time, I had a little Blanton's pipeline.
Yeah, that was
You
good.
remember the Blanton story?
Yeah,
No more?
I was around.
Oh, so
You gonna share it?
Yeah, I'll share. So, friend of mine.
Yes,
who
no
was,
names.
No names. No names. Nothing specific.
Protect the innocent.
But
I'll have to get that as a drop.
yeah. So, a friend of mine was actually working at
A place.
a place, and yeah, he was working at a place, and
La, 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 la.
in the alcohol industry, and his particular place had a recycling area where they could crush glass and cans and stuff like that. So, his industry happened to be beer. So, beer and then liquor distributors, they're cousins, kind of the same thing. And his counterpart at the liquor distributor called him and said, hey, we have some Blantons and, we have to crush it because, it's defective. It's like, oh, it's defective, right? So he's like, sure, no problem. Bring us to his place. And he, kind of looks at it and he's like, well, what's defective on it? So the wax seal was off on the top. That was it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, him being a little industrious, this is probably not a good story to tell. But
He's a businessman.
He's like, hey, I'm not going to crush this good Blanton.
Not like he was supposed to anyway.
So those Blanton bottles turned into things that kind of fell off a truck.
Did
So,
I get one of those?
Yeah, you probably did.
Oh, shit.
We were listen. We moved a lot. So, so my experience with Blanton is we're close friends. We used to be a whole lot closer. But yeah, we ran through a lot of blends.
Just to let the company know that those bottles did get crushed actually afterwards, just in a different way.
They did.
Yeah.
Crushed.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Super crushed.
All the glass was broken when they were empty.
Well, you can't do it when they're full. It just makes a mess.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just responsibility.
And, they followed through. It was definitely destroyed. Perhaps not in the manner they had intended, but it was definitely destroyed.
And it was a good run, too. It was a good run.
It was a good run.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I think there's a little story behind this cigar.
Yeah, well, there's probably a couple stories. From what I can recall about the history of the cigars, I think it came out around 2006, 2007-ish, I want to say. And back then, Oliva was a much smaller company. They would broker tobacco mostly, and they were around that time just starting to get into the premium cigar market with their own stuff, using their own tobacco. I don't know if you guys remember when they had the Oak Classic and the Oak Bold. No? When they had the, they
Before
used
my
to-
time.
They originally they had these cigars that were in round boxes. We used to call it the toilet bowl because they were perfectly round, and then you had a square cutout in the middle where the cigars were in. And the old O Bolds and Classics, which are, I believe are now the O's, they had felt like cloth bands on them, which was kind of wild because they put a lot of money back then into the bands and the look and whatever into the cigar. Well, anyway, from what I understand about the V, was that a larger cigar company had come to Oliva and asked them to make a cigar. They weren't typically in the Nicaraguan market, and they wanted to come out with a Nicaraguan line. So they came to Oliva. And then after the cigar was produced, it didn't turn out to be the one they wanted. So they ended up going to a different Nicaraguan producer. So Oliva took the cigar, put a name on it, released it, and it ended up being probably their biggest splash in the cigar world.
Wow.
You know, because prior to that point, they really weren't doing such full-bodied cigars. And it really launched the line into what you see today, which is probably one of the bigger cigar producers out there.
1,000%.
So you started smoking these from the very beginning.
Yeah, actually, I was one of the few. They had, at the time, they had close ties to Cigar Factory Outlet in Norwalk. And we were, I think, one of the first few to try the cigar when they did their very first event and unleashed it. And it was kind of fun because they're really proud of the wrapper on the cigar. It's a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. And from what I understand, they produce a ton of this wrapper, but only a small percentage of it actually makes it to this cigar. And just based on the scarcity of what qualifies for this, the cigar should probably be a lot more expensive. But what they were doing was they would take the wrapper leaf out, and we would light the cigar and then put it up against the wrapper leaf just to taste the wrapper itself, you know, and isolate it from the rest of the stick.
Yeah.
Which is fun because then you really get that flavor that the wrapper imparts on the cigar.
That is cool.
That's interesting. So basically, this was somebody else's cigar that they didn't want.
Well,
and
not
it's
that they
a
didn't
massive
want,
hit.
but they were making for somebody else.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to be one of their biggest cigars.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, too, is that this cigar, that company now, this cigar might outsell all of their premium cigars combined.
That's fantastic.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so Oliva went from being the little fish in the pond to being the big fish.
They kind of
Yeah,
fell
they're-
into something. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a massive company now.
Yeah.
Just look at the Nub and Melania. Like, it goes on and on. I mean,
Right,
Missed opportunity.
Yep.
exactly.
Interesting.
They fell into it, though. It's nice.
They sure did.
So what? You've obviously been smoking for a long time. What got you into premium cigars, or cigars in general?
It was kind of funny because I hated smoking. My parents were cigarette smokers, and I just couldn't stand it. And I ended up becoming friends with a guy who, whenever he got together with the boys, he would always bring a box of cigars. And at the time, he was bringing these like Davidoff seconds all the time. And I didn't want any part of it, whatever. I was against smoking. So this was about 2001. I was hosting a barbecue at my place, and he brought cigars. Well, I had enough beers where I was like, give me one of them fucking things.
Hell yeah.
So I lit the cigar, and I'm like, shit, this isn't half bad. You know, and I'm an IT guy, so as soon as the next morning, I immediately went on the internet, went to Cigar Aficionado's website, went to the chat forums because that's where you get all the good information.
I was gonna say, so what year was this? Not to date you.
2001.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I immediately went on the internet, joined the forums, started asking guys, what should I smoke? And, one thing that we love in the cigar community is noobs, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll give them everything. Try this, try this, try this.
Yep.
And guys were giving me lists of cigars to try. And I was just running out to every shop I could, trying all these sticks, reading the magazines. And for like the next year, I was obsessed. And from that, my palate kind of grew. And then I just kind of became a groupie after that, going to every event that every shop was doing in the area. Like, we have bourbon bottle hunters here. I was cigar hunting back then because back then, shops didn't have the big variety of cigars that they have now. Like if you wanted a Fuente, this guy didn't have it, but that guy had it. If you wanted an Oliva, this guy had it, but those two don't. So I'd go hunting to all these different stores to try to find sticks I couldn't find at the other stores.
So back then, you mentioned this is your kind of daily go-to now. What was your first kind of go-to? What was the first one you fell in love with?
The La Gloria Serie R.
Okay.
Serie R Maduro. Yeah, I mean, I went right to
I was going to
strong
say,
cigars.
you went right heavy.
Right after the strong cigars. That was my first favorite cigar. Yeah.
Shit.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, usually most people, they'll start light and then gradually
Yeah.
go up,
Not Jay.
Not Jay.
Nope.
Went right after the
Jump
powerhouse.
right in the deep end.
Yeah, my first was my dad's White Owl behind the garage. Me and my buddy, we were young. I think it was 10 years old, and
White Owl a cigar?
Dad caught us, and he made me smoke it.
I'm surprised.
So I stayed away for about 30 some odd years because, as you say, my parents were smokers, and it was like, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. But here and there, you run into the boys, a stag party, just a picnic or something like that, where all of a sudden you're having a stick. And then I played softball a lot, and after the games have a couple of sticks, and my buddy Cap here introduced me to more things than I should have. I went to church every Sunday before I met this guy.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, that's a lie.
But then after games and whatnot, it came to, hey, let's have. It was everybody just congregating, having a couple of beers. To okay, gonna have a stick. I was a tequila drinker mostly. Started drinking a little bit more bourbon, but honestly, the stick always came, and we chilled and had a good time, and that's how I got introduced to cigars more so. And once again, sitting right here in front of this camera, enjoying with you guys.
You're welcome.
So
Thank you.
both of your stories actually hit on. They kind of have the same tone, right? Like, and it hits on something that I think is kind of important in the cigar community, is that you started with the stigma of smoking cigarettes and correlating that with cigars.
Right.
And it's
That's
such a totally different experience.
Oh,
It's such a totally different
100%.
thing that
Totally.
no one really takes the time to realize until you are introduced to it, and
Right.
you find a community like like this place or wherever you might be. It's just interesting how that shift kind of has to happen.
Right.
Yeah, like the disconnect, because cigarettes and cigars are completely different.
Yeah,
but
I was a
always
cigarette
work
smoker
together.
for years, and they're nothing alike.
Right.
So that's why you're 20 years old, but you look like that.
Oh yeah. I'm actually 21, legally smoking cigars.
Shots fired.
21.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I've never been able to stand the smell of it. And obviously, people are like, oh, cigarettes, you smoke a cigar, it's like smoking 10 cigarettes. It's like, but the thing is, the cigarettes are all a bunch of processed chemicals and shit like that, and you're smoking all natural. And our ancestors smoked cigars forever.
Oh yeah.
And all these top brand cigar guys all lived into their freaking almost
hundreds,
90s,
Yeah.
smoking these things, and it's just like it's a totally different experience. It's a totally different. I mean, they're not even the same ballpark. I don't care what anybody says. I saw a meme the other day, and it had a guy. It was actually a video meme, and the guy's like, on top of it says cigarette smoker, and the other one says cigar smoker, and the guy looks at him, he's like, And the cigar smoker's like, yeah, okay. Whatever.
Yeah. Well,
Get the hell out of here.
so that brings a question for you, Dave. I know from my perspective as just a cigar smoker, we smoke it to relax, right? Because you know that when you light up a cigar, you're there for an hour at least.
No
right?
hurry.
So you're going to chill. You're hanging with the guys. Even if you're by yourself, you're doing it to chill. I always feel like when I see cigarette smokers, they're doing it because they're nervous.
You need to.
They're stressed. They're jacked up, and they just got to go do it.
Yep.
Is that
It's-
accurate?
Kind of. I don't think I ever felt that like nervousness, jacked up feeling, but it was an addiction. Like you had to. Like I was I don't want to say fortunate enough, but like I was working in a factory at the time when I was still smoking, and we were allowed to smoke indoors. So like it didn't affect me all that much, but I was smoking like before I quit. It was like up to 2 packs a day.
Who are you, in China?
Wow.
Close, Bridgeport.
Wow.
Wow. Just wow.
No, but like so, I was lucky. I didn't. I quit fairly quickly and all that kind of stuff. And ironically enough, when I started smoking, I first started smoking cigars. I'll tell the whole story on a different podcast. We'll
right.
call that a cliffhanger. But I started smoking like shitty gas station cigars. Then I went into cigarettes because in high school that's what everyone was doing. And then eventually I just got sick of coughing shit up and quit. But then came back to the cigar, and it's just a totally different experience. This you get to relax. Cigarettes you have to. Like I found myself going outside in the rain and the snow to have a cigarette, and it's like
cigarettes.
So that was the thing. Whenever all of a sudden somebody wasn't at their desk or something, you go outside, you see people freezing their cojones off outside in the rain. I mean, that's a big want right there. I mean,
that's not a want. That's a need.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's a big need.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, somebody's dashing out the door. You get to the elevator. They got their cigarette in their hand and a lighter ready to go, and then they come back with the last puff in their mouth. You get in the elevator. It's like, okay. But definitely a little bit of a different experience with a cigar.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, it's all about relaxing and community, and camaraderie, and I think we touched on it in the last podcast too. Like that's one of the biggest things about the cigar community is that whole community feel. Which is why places like this, which I never even said at the beginning of the podcast, we are at Mikey Blakes in Orange, Connecticut. Gorgeous, massive cigar lounge, members only. But
Home base.
yeah, great cigar selection. So if you're in the area, definitely stop by Mikey Blakes. You won't be disappointed by the selection. And if you're nice, maybe they'll let you back here to hang out with us.
And they are nice because they've offered that whatever cigar that we are doing on our podcast, the general public can get 10% off that stick.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you come into Mickey Blake's today or over the next month, I believe.
Yep.
You'll
you
get
walk in,
10%
you
off
mention the
of Oliva
podcast,
cigars.
and you'll get a discount on the cigar that we.
Us members will get an extra 5% on our own discount.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
We're just not telling those guys over there.
Yeah, it's just us.
Fuck those guys.
So Jay, this is your everyday go-to, right? Which I'm enjoying thoroughly. Tell me some more about your library of cigars. Like, what else do you like to smoke, and what do you enjoy that is on the level which you don't have to smoke it every day, but if you smoke it, you're like, oh shit, this is a fucking good cigar.
That's a good question. I tend to get streaky. While this might be my base stick,
Like streaking a quad or
both.
okay.
Nice. I can see
What I mean by streaky is when I find a brand, and then I like one of their sticks, I'll start trying all of their sticks, and then maybe for the next 3 or 4 months, I'll smoke those pretty heavily. So lately, I've been on a big AJ kick, smoking a lot of their sticks, which are great priced. I always go for the full-bodied stuff. But yeah, that's my kick right now. Is I've been smoking a lot of AJ stuff.
AJ makes
What's your unicorn? What's something that you've wanted to try?
That question. I like that question. Let's
Oh,
go.
that I've wanted to try?
That you've wanted to try that you haven't had a chance to yet.
A consistently good Cuban?
Something that's attainable.
You're gonna be waiting for a long time.
Yeah, something that's attainable.
Jay, are we talking about a cigar?
I think we're talking about a cigar.
I see what you did there. Yeah, you're gonna get that.
My wife goes and listens to the podcast.
He wasn't talking about Araldus
We
Chapman.
are kidding. Oh well, no, he wasn't good. Yeah, he's consistently bad.
I don't know if I've had a unicorn. I've had unicorns in the past. Like the Anejo.
So what's the one that you're searching for?
I'm not
Oh,
searching
you're not?
for anything. No.
Okay.
I kind of smoke cigars.
I don't like your attitude. Bullshit. What the fuck is that?
Bullshit.
Wow.
Number one.
I
bullshit.
guess I approach it more like a blue collar guy, right? You know, I want to find what's good that's available, and then I smoke it. Like I said, back in the day when I was a groupie and going to every event, trying every stick, you know, we were always chasing down something, whether it was the new Padron 1964 or whether it was, I mean, back in the day, Unicorn was the old, I don't know if you remember the Padron Millennials. Mm-hmm. They came out around 2000, you know, and you spend a few years hunting the unicorns, and you get them, and some pan out as a great stick, you know, and some don't. Mm-hmm. And in the end, you just go back to what you were smoking on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
I tend to get excited about new releases. You know, I want to try them, see what's going on. Mm-hmm. I get excited, what was it, a few months ago, I was reading some articles about tobacco strands that have been long dead that some cigar manufacturers have been trying to bring back.
Okay.
So that kind of stuff is cool, but there's no brand or cigar that I'm like on the hunt for. You know, there's just so much that's good. That's
Fair enough.
You know, I often say, like, if you walk into Mikey Blakes' humidor, close your eyes and bounce a ball, and whatever cigar it hits,
Right.
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing about the industry right now too, is there's really not many bad cigars.
Right.
You start getting under $5, and, you know,
Right.
gas station
Right.
cigars. Obviously, those are going to
Machine
be
made.
shit.
Yeah.
But you go into any premium cigar shop, and you're not really going to find anything bad. It might not fit your flavor profile.
Right. And I've been doing it long enough that I remember because I came into it right at the tail end of the cigar boom.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if you guys were smoking back then.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of garbage on the market.
Oh,
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah.
A lot of garbage.
Definitely got cleaned up.
And, you know, you would have a lot of those misses when you wanted to try something new. So it's nice that after 5 or 6 years after that cleared out, you know, now anybody who puts a premium cigar on a shelf, it might not be your liking, but it's going to be a good stick.
But so, what are you guys talking about? So once again, this is before me. This is so you folks were just throwing sticks out there because it was something to do. And
So before you get into that, right? Because I mean, obviously the boom was crazy. Dave brought up the unicorn. What's his unicorn? Now I want to know what Dave's unicorn is. Now everybody's got to tell their freaking unicorn because I want to know. So you're not on a hunt for anything.
Nope.
Dave, what's your unicorn?
I currently don't have anything. I'm a little too.
Bullshit guy.
No, I think
Number
I'm
one.
still. I think I'm kind of in Timmy's camp where I'm not necessarily new, but I think I'm removed a little bit enough right now where I'm not paying attention
Right.
to it to know what's being sought after.
Fair enough. I'll go in it and I'll say, you know, obviously I've been a unicorn hunter. I've always, you know, just hunt down whatever cigars I get. And I find a lot of them. I mean, I find some stuff I put it away, like the actual Padron and Fuentes.
I was just gonna say I was this close to buying that just because I know I'd smoke them.
Right. So
But
I
300
got
pair
those. I'm on the fence whether I'm going to try and flip it or smoke it on my 2 next grandchild's birthdays, which probably smoke them.
That's a good one.
once again, what was that? The Padron collab?
Padron and Fuente
There you go.
collaboration.
Yeah.
So my unicorn, right, is the Behike, right? I've never smoked one.
Oh.
It's super fucking expensive, but I want to smoke a real one because the hype is real. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, fuck the hype, but it's just something that I want to smoke.
It's a
I want to
great
sit
That's-
there. I want to.
That's what a unicorn is.
I want to sip my favorite bourbon,
Yep.
and I want to smoke it first cigar of the day. Nobody bothering me.
Clean palate.
Smoke
yeah.
it and see what it's about. And
That's
it's
a
just-
good one.
It's just for me, and they're like about $150 now.
Yeah.
I can probably find one, but finding a real one is the challenge.
I think that's the hardest thing with any of those Cubans right now.
Oh, what the fuck are you? We're gonna move on to Cappy now and see what he likes for a unicorn.
You know, it's funny.
You went real fucking radio right there.
I know. I know.
You know, it's funny. You talk about the Behike. And listen, it's a great cigar. I've had it.
You've had it, so thank you.
Yeah, I've had it. Didn't get to.
You want me to give a hug?
No, I don't want to
Okay.
hug.
All right.
But, you know,
Was it a real one?
it was a real one.
You sure? Do we need to validate that?
Real. Really?
I'm fucking with you.
Now I got to cut you.
No.
So, but
We're
you know,
Sosa.
oh god. Going back to what you had mentioned about consistency with Cuban cigars, right? So that's the thing. If you get a box of 20 Cubans, you've got 17 good cigars.
That many?
I'm being generous.
You're being real generous.
Because the consistency
you got
in the manufacturing and you know the actually construction of them, it's just funny. So it's like
There's no quality control.
no,
Yeah.
or it's loose, or it's certainly
But
lacking.
isn't that what you're paying for, though? Or what you think that
For
you're
the
paying for?
No, the
Inconsistency?
quality
No.
control is shit right now.
no. I'm
Think
not-
about that.
I'm not paying $150 for a poorly constructed cigar. Come on, no. So yeah, no. But that's yeah. I don't unicorn hunt per
Yeah.
se.
Okay.
Well,
Like-
I mean, years ago we had one of the unicorns on the Cuban side were the Bolivar Bellicoso Finos, the BBFs, and a buddy of mine had gone to Canada, had picked a couple up and brought them home. We were really excited. It was in the middle of winter, so we were like, "Screw it, doesn't matter. We're smoking this thing. We got it." And it wasn't as good as.
Well,
That's what happens.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
what happens.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, going back to the collaboration, it's like I would shy away from that because it's like, okay, if you smoke it right and you absolutely love it, when I get a cigar that I like to smoke it.
Right. You're
Often,
not going to be able
you know,
to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to afford to
Right.
smoke that one all the time.
Well, you're not going to get it because it's gone.
Well, yeah. And then the flip side is if you smoke it and you're like, what is this?
What
or
the fuck did I do?
you know, it's all right. There's
Oh,
no
you're real depressed.
there's no win there.
I'm
you know?
afraid.
Yeah.
There's
Listen,
no win.
I purchased one, a pair. I'm afraid, but I know the two
I
companies.
mean, you almost
Listen,
can't go
those two
wrong.
companies,
You know they're going to be great.
they're gonna be great. And, you know, Padron doing it for Fuente, he's gonna fucking pull out all his great tobacco to do it, and the same on that
Yeah.
side. So it's first cigars has got to be, and I think it's definitely gonna be good. So I'll tell you right now, I'm probably gonna smoke it. I think Mikey Blakes has one more pair. If I put enough money aside,
Tell me that.
they do. They do. So, you know, I might buy that other pair and just say, fuck it. You know, let's raffle it off on one of these podcasts. Would be fucking amazing.
That would
So,
be amazing.
I mean, now that you put it
so
out into the
I'll
universe.
smoke one and someone. I don't care. Listen, to me, listen. You know, a lot of crazy adversity and crazy shit has happened to me in the last fucking 3 years. Life is short, bro. You have to enjoy your life. I get it. It's a fucking $178 cigar. We get our 15% discount.
I'm a
It's
cheers to that,
great.
brother.
Cheers, right?
Cheers.
Fucking
It is.
life is short.
It is. It
That's
is.
why
I got
Fuck
you.
yeah.
I got you.
Gentlemen,
I don't choose to
got
spend
you.
my life with people that I'm not going to remember in my old age. Everybody here at Mickey Blakes has been my brother. You know, I met Dave Brown here. Everybody else I've met here, and it's been a great ride. So, you know, $320 that we pay for the cigar here. If I have it and I put it away and I can get the last blend that they have, you know, what it is what it is. We'll raffle it off. We'll say, hey, smoke a cigar with Rich or Blaze One. You can pick which one you want. We'll smoke it on the fucking podcast, and we'll fucking talk about it. And the realness, we'll talk about what it really is. If it's a shit cigar, it's a fucking
right.
shit cigar. But if it's a great cigar, we'll let the people know it's a great fucking cigar.
I like that.
It is what it is. I'll tell you right now, I've mentioned cigars, you know, that I couldn't find, which, long live the Queen, Caldwell. I couldn't find it. I was like, what the fuck? I found it. It was a box worthy only. They said you could buy a box. Sure enough, my brother Cappy came through, got me one. I fucking loved it.
It's a great
amazing.
stick.
It's a good
great
cigar.
stick. Yeah.
I ended up spending $30 for it in D.C. last week, which was crazy. But anyways, it was a good cigar. I loved it, and you know, all praise to fucking Cappy because he got it for me, and that's what this is all about. Because to me, when somebody says, like, I asked you guys what your unicorns were, right? It wasn't a trick question. It's like if you had a unicorn. When I left today, I was going to try to fucking find it and get it for you and let you smoke it because that's what I'm about. That's exactly what I'm about.
opportunity.
And you know what? Pretty much everybody here is do the same. If they have if I sit down and I don't have a cigar, I know somebody's going to say, "Hey,
Absolutely.
smoke
Oh,
this
yeah.
shit."
A 1,000.
And that's what this is about, and I love it. I fucking love
But
it.
as you say, unicorn, as Jay said, I personally, I don't have a unicorn. There are things that I like, there are things that I'll try, but the best thing I found walking into this lounge is the fact that you always hear somebody talking about something that they tried new. Somebody bought something, will sit there, hand a stick. You try it, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
100%.
You can definitely get a lot of knowledge just coming in here, chilling with guys, listening to what they're saying about sticks. And next thing you know, you found your favorite stick.
Yeah.
Just
100%.
that simple. Yeah.
So now we're done. I don't want to say we're done with the unicorn conversation because I feel like that's going to come up a lot.
It will. It will.
But I do have one more question for Jay. Knowing that you're a bold cigar guy, full body, do you tend to go more toward the Dominican, Nicaraguan? Is a certain leaf that you like in a cigar? Is there something that draws you in before you even try it?
Sure. I definitely love a good-looking Maduro cigar. A lot of people like to say Maduro doesn't mean it's going to be strong, but you guys know 90% of the Maduros you pick up are going to be full body.
90%.
More often than not, yeah.
So I think when I see a good-looking Maduro or a Habano wrap cigar, I think Habano brings a lot of smooth flavor to cigars. It's not always the power, but it's big flavor, in a stick. But yeah, definitely a good, shiny, oily-looking Maduro will
There
get
you
my
go.
attention.
Nice, dark, oily wrapper.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, I think we're at about that time. I did see a sign on this poker table that it's reserved for a chippy.
motherfuckers.
A chippy. I don't know.
Chippy.
He must be some asshole.
Chippy and my cousin are doing a
Poker day.
Raffle.
They do a poker every Wednesday. I don't see anybody here though, so whatever. It is what it
a
is.
couple guys
I think
wandered.
I got to think we got a few minutes.
But Dave, I definitely appreciate the fact that you do this. This is something great. It brings a little bit more excitement into the club, and nice job.
Right, it's awesome because it's funny because me and Cappy and a lot of us here, we're thinking about different things, parties and other shit to do just to get everybody together, right? And Dave is an amazing fucking drummer.
True story.
Yes,
We got
Yes,
a
he
chance
is.
to see him.
Yes,
No,
he is.
fuck
No,
that.
no.
Absolutely.
Amazing drummer,
Yes,
right?
he is.
So I actually approached Dave and I said, "Can you help me with a podcast?" Because I've never listened to a podcast. I listened to one real quick, right? And then I said to him, "Shit, I want to do a podcast." And he said, "Rich, without a fucking hitch, I'm going to help you." Never mentioned his podcast. "I'm going to help you. What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, let's come up with a name, right, Cap? Let's come up with a name." And he goes, "I used to do a podcast called Ash Chat." And I go, "Fuck that. Let's just keep running
Perfect
your
name.
shit."
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, "All right." So listen, I was so fucking flattered by the fact that he said, "Let's just fucking do his," which was always, and when he said it, I left that day and I jumped on it and I go, "Holy shit, this is great." He actually had a podcast, right? At a former spot, I'm not even going to mention it. He was there. It was 4 of them at the table talking like this, and then he had 2 TVs kind of like posted up with people that actually went away somewhere else, which is fucking great because if we go on vacation, you pop up screens, and the people were like, "Oh, we're here, we're here." I'm like, "This is fucking amazing." I said, "Dave, fuck that. We're going to roll with your shit, and we'll just talk." And it was amazing. So I am totally humbled that he was able to say, "We're going to do Ash Chat," and embrace Alma de Hombre, because you know what? Alma de Hombre is not that fucking, corporate bullshit. It is, if you're a brother of the leaf and you like to smoke cigars and you like to sip bourbon and talk to people and just be there, hey, that's what it is. That's why everybody at this table is Alma de Hombre. Not because I'm making you be that. It's because you enjoy what we're doing. And
Absolutely.
I am flattered. Yo, Dave Brown, fucking thank you, bro.
No, thank you for the opportunity to bring this thing back too, because I did a beer podcast a long time ago. I did the Ash Chat, like you said, at the other spot, and I've been wanting to. I love doing podcasts. I'm a production guy by trade, and I love doing this shit. As soon as you brought it up, I'm like, well, I'd I got the gear just sitting. I'm like, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
So the next time, what we're gonna do is bring you a nice ice cold Colt 45.
Look at his face, gentlemen and ladies.
cold.
Look at his face.
Hello, my darling.
Hello, my darling.
Hello, my darling.
Listen, I got stories about Colt 45 too. I was a fan. They sponsored an event that I did years ago
Get
with a
the
buddy.
fuck out of here.
Yeah, I had cases of Colt in my.
All right, so let's get a 40 next time. Bang that shit down.
Exactly.
Say less.
Exactly.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to have been chosen to pick the stick in the bourbon today. That
Dave,
was
you did a
really
wonderful.
fun.
Pardon me,
Thank you,
Jay.
man.
You did a wonderful
Jay,
job.
you did
Yeah.
a wonderful job. We got one more thing to say today. Yesterday I wasn't here, but Cappy was here. He was sitting here with Brad, which is the
Oh, yeah.
AJ.
so
AJ.
Brad is the AJ rep.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him what we got, Brad. Tell him.
Well, we're working behind the scenes to do a podcast with Brad and from AJ, and we might bring a surprise guest with him as well.
No shit.
One of my
Dave?
favorite
Yeah.
sticks, the Bella
I like how you
Sartez.
guys are finding out as the producer is finding out too.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. I
See?
don't want to give out too much because we're still working on details, but it will be nice to be able to do the podcast with the representative and maybe the guy who makes this.
Fucking tune in, everybody.
Maybe
This
That'll
shit
be
is
nice.
real. We're not playing games here. This is real.
You know,
We're gonna set it off. We're gonna set it off.
it's
All the way live.
What we do, inclusive, bringing everybody in and having
Let's
a good
go.
time doing
Let's
it.
go.
I love it. On that note, I think I'm going to start playing us out, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom.
Thank you
Boom.
for joining the Ash
Fantastic.
Chat.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of my friends here, Richie, Cappy, Timmy,
Holla
Jay.
at your boy.
Thank you for
Blaze
having
one
me.
in the house.
Love
Let's
you
go.
guys.
Yo,
Yeah, that's ass chat.
Ash.
Ass
Not
chat.
ass chaps.
Not ass chat. Ass chat.
That's a
No.
different,
No
that's
chappy
another
ass here.
podcast.
That's the other
No
podcast.
chappy ass.
Hey.
And also, if they're listening, they
Look.
probably already know how to spell it.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. We know some of the same guys. Later.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Jay.